The Pittsburgh Steelers have just drafted a player with no ACL. So, in the third round of this year's draft, 2024, the Pittsburgh Steelers selected Payton Wilson. And even though he is the best inside linebacker in the entire class, he fell to the third round. And the reason why he fell is because of injury concerns. He has no ACL. But before I get more to this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can get updated with everything Pittsburgh Steelers news. And also like the video. Let's get right back into it. So, Payton Wilson, he's the best inside linebacker in this year's class. From playing zone coverage, man coverage, and making tackles, he's just all around a really good inside linebacker with great speed as well. But the reason why he fell is because many insiders, many teams believe that he has injury concerns that will affect him at the next level. For example, he has no ACL. And Ian Rapoport mentioned this on the broadcast of the draft, saying this about him. He has a multitude of injuries. First, there was a left shoulder injury that was operated on. It was not a great operation. That's certainly a lingering issue, but that's actually not the worst of it. He has torn his ACL twice, and my understanding, after talking to several sources, is one of his knees, he does not have an ACL. End quote. So, Rapoport also said that Payton Wilson has secondary stabilizers in his knee, but that teams were concerned. And in fact, as Rapoport went on to note, after Pittsburgh made the pick, more than 2/3 of the league believe that Wilson's injury situation is so bad that he won't be able to sign a second contract after his 4-year rookie deal expires. He believes, and he says that many teams believe that that will be his only contract because injuries will derail his career and he just won't be a factor moving forward after 4 years because of those injuries. The exact quote by Rapoport is, "There are 22 teams who share medical reports. My understanding is all 22 teams view him as a one-contract player." End quote. So, it is not clear if the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of those 22 teams that share the medicals on Payton Wilson. I would guess not, because they end up drafting him, and why would you draft a player if you thought he could only play 4 seasons? So, the Steelers, just looking at Payton Wilson's injury history, going through it his entire career. As we know, he tore his ACL senior year of high school. Then he suffered a knee injury as a true freshman at NC State and missed the rest of the season. He had surgery on both shoulders in the spring of 2021, and then a season-ending shoulder surgery in 2 games into the 2021 season. So that's his injury history. It's a lengthy one, he missed a lot of time, but despite the injury history, Wilson has been healthy enough to be on the field for the last 2 seasons, 2 years. His last injury was basically 2021, and since that last injury, he's been really productive. And when he's on the football field, he is productive, and he's a great player. He was one of the college's most productive inside linebackers, recording 30 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, 4 interceptions over that 2-year span. So, before I get more into the topic of the no ACL thing and his injury history that teams and Rapoport was going through, let's just talk about it really quickly. So, obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers, they drafted him for a reason. They obviously wouldn't draft a player if they believe that he could only play 4 seasons, if he's going to be an injury-prone person and they couldn't trust him to be on the football field. That's just not what the Steelers would do. There's some concerns about the players the Steelers drafted last season. If you remember Darnell Washington, oh, his knee issues, his legs issues, would he be able to play? Well, he played a whole season last year without getting injured, and he was completely fine. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously, they've been through this before. Hines Ward had no ACL. He had it in one leg, I believe. And that's exactly what Payton Wilson has. In one knee, he has one ACL, and the other leg, he doesn't have any. So they've been through this situation before. They know what they're going through, and you have to truly believe that Steelers know what they're doing in this situation. Even though other teams passed on him, why would you pass on the best inside linebacker in the entire class, especially in the 3rd round? If you could get that high value pick for a player and you believe that they'll be fine, then they obviously did their homework and you have to believe in what the Steelers are doing. And just looking at Payton Wilson, how would he even fit into the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, they're dealing with an injury right now at the inside linebacker position. Cole Holcomb, he's dealing with a knee issue as well. You don't know when he's going to be back, when he's going to resume football activities. So they kind of need an inside linebacker. Yes, they got Patrick Queen, but if you could get someone young, explosive, fast, zone coverage type of guy, also come up and stop the run to put next to Patrick Queen, that's a really big deal because the Steelers have been missing that for a very long time. It looked really good last season and what the Steelers were doing at the inside linebacker rotation in terms of Cole Holcomb, Elan Roberts, Kwon Alexander, the rotation there. But getting two guys who could play every single down, Payton Wilson even said himself, he expects, if possible, to play every single snap, and he would not want to come out the game. I've seen something where he said if there's 75 defensive snaps, he expects to play all 75. So you look at Payton Wilson, obviously he's a player with great attributes and a great skill set that Pittsburgh Steelers like. And even Mike Tomlin was going through it in the draft press conference after, and he said that he's explosive. He's someone who could go play zone coverage, man coverage, drop back, but also come up and get his hands dirty and make the tackle. So Mike Tomlin really likes what he could bring to the table. The Steelers obviously did, and that's why they felt that it was a great value pick in the third round, even though they didn't really entirely need an inside linebacker in the third round. Obviously, if the best guy is there at that pick, you pick him. Also, if you just look at the film from him over the last two seasons he's been playing with no ACL. So all that game film, all that highlights that you see of him over the last two seasons, which led to him being drafted and led to him being the best inside linebacker in this year's class, all of that work that he's done has been with no ACL. So it's not like it's something brand new where this offseason he just has no ACL and you're just, oh, how is he going to pan out this year after removing his ACL? No, the last two seasons he hasn't had it. So it's not like you have film with him on two ACLs and then now you're moving into the NFL with no ACL. No, he's been doing the bulk load of his work with no ACL. We've seen what he could do, and even on film, he's a very explosive, and that was with only one ACL. So the Pittsburgh Steelers seen that, and I've seen it, and I think it's a really good selection, and other teams are just being worried about it. And even Payton Wilson said himself, he said this, when I went to the hospital yesterday, it actually wasn't a lot on me. So I think the teams are pretty confident in what I've done these last 2 years, and I think they believe my injuries are in the past. Also, I just realized this now, but another player who the Pittsburgh Steelers had, who had no ACL either, was Greg Lloyd. So Heyward and Greg Lloyd. And so they've dealt with this in the past. Obviously, they've been through the medicals with them, and they feel confident in what Payton Wilson could do. And Ian Rapoport summed up Wilson once again, saying, the knee is somewhat stable. Teams believe he's a one-contract player, but no one knows. Steelers are betting on the upside. Based off that comment, it would seem as though the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the 22 teams because they're saying the Steelers are betting on the upside, and it says that the Steelers believe he's a one-contract player. So it would kind of assume that when Ian Rapoport made the report saying the 22 teams gave him the medicals and said that they believe he's a one-contract player, we didn't know if the Steelers were in that. But based off that last comment and that last quote, you would think that the Steelers would be in it based off the wording of the knee is somewhat stable. They believe he's a one-contract player. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they obviously took chances on people last season. The big concern, Darnell Washington, he's going to be injury prone. Corey Trice, he's going to be injury prone. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's worries about that, but they've selected him in the third round, and I believe it'll be a really nice pickup, and he'll shock people, and he's going to be playing a long time, just like Heyward, Greg Lloyd. And even just say, for example, Zach Frazier. I didn't talk about it in this video yet, but Zach Frazier, he's literally coming off a broken leg. So the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously aren't afraid of taking chances on players if they believe they'll pan out. They're taking a chance on Zach Frazier coming back from a broken leg and being completely fine. The medicals on him for the whole NFL aren't, he's going to be only a one-contract player because of that broken leg. Broken leg is a big thing. So obviously we're going to have to see how Zach Frazier performs this season after coming back from that. Will he be able to get 100% back? And now we have to wait and see on Payton Wilson too, because they just selected him. And the whole thing on him is the medicals as well. So it's kind of up in the air on why Zach Frazier, there's no draft bad talk about him, about injury concerns. and injury prone, but now Peyton Wilson, something he's been dealing with for a while now, has been playing with already. Now all of a sudden he's an injury concern. But the Pittsburgh Steelers nonetheless made their decision, and we're going to have to see how it pans out with him. Hopefully it's going to be a nice pairing for a long time with Patrick Queen, in which they just gave the biggest free agent contract in their team history. So Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen, let's see if they could be a duo. Now, with that being said, that's the end of this video, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this topic, and in terms of Peyton Wilson not having an ACL, do you think that will affect them? Do you think the Steelers should just not have selected him and went a different area, a different inside linebacker, or different position in general? Or do you like the pick like I like the pick? If that's the best player available, the best inside linebacker in the class, and he falls to the third, you just have to pick it and hope that he's able to continue doing what he's doing. But that's the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news. I cover everything through the draft. I'll continue covering the whole offseason as well. So turn on notifications, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till the next video, I'm out. Peace.